It is now 4 o'clock and we will begin our webinar. Thank you for joining us for another of IDRA's free webinars in our series of Learning Continues. Our Chief Science Officers are proud to share with you some ideas on how to promote STEM despite the school closures. I'd like to now introduce Dr. Stephanie Garcia.
Hi, everybody. I'm so excited that you're joining us today. I'm going to go ahead and share my presentation with you, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So once again, as Michelle just said, you are here to hear from our Chief Science Officers here in Texas and learn more about, how they've been coping with all of these COVID-19 challenges and how they've been promoting STEM despite school and community closures. A little bit about IDRA, who's hosting this webinar. We're a nonprofit. We're about 47 years old now, and we've been promoting equity for all students in education through our policy work, educational practice, our community and family engagement and leadership, our research and evaluation team. It's just been really phenomenal to see the decades of work that's been taking place at IDRA to strengthen and transform public education. You can visit our website to learn more at idra.org. And we also have a landing page for our CSOs there. I'm blessed to work with a phenomenal team of women in STEM at IDRA. And I have more of the science and engineering background. I was a middle school science teacher here in San Antonio. I went to UTSA, the University of Texas at San Antonio, to train new teachers to teach science. And then I also got into some really great graduate research work around engineering education. And then my phenomenal colleagues, Dr. Paula Johnson is a math educator, and Michelle Vega, our Chief Technology Strategist at IDRA. So our awesome panelists are here. They're going to be speaking and sharing a little bit about their own experiences right now, and I know that I'm going to get to them as soon as I can for you. So I wanted to introduce Isela. CSO Isela is a senior from McCollum High School here at Harlandale ISD in San Antonio. We have CSO Shreya. She's a 10th grader from Keystone School. And we have Elizabeth. She's an 8th grader from Northeast ISD STEM Academy. If just for housekeeping, if you can keep your mics muted just for now. We will have time though for Q&A in a little bit. I finished introducing our team and our guest speakers today, but I'd love to hear from you all. So could you please, in the chat box, tell us your name and where you're joining us from, and what your role is in education or your connection to it. Sometimes we have people from all over the nation joining us, or even the world, and so we're just really curious to know a little bit more about you. And yeah, so I know sometimes we have lots of educators or principals or families, and so feel free to share a little bit about yourself in the chat box. A little bit about the program. We're going to be mentioning a lot throughout this discussion, the Chief Science Officer program. It's an international program that started in Arizona a few years ago. And the goals for this program are to create a pipeline of diverse STEM leaders, to foster communication and collaboration among CSOs, to enrich a STEM culture and career awareness, and to really amplify and elevate student voice in STEM conversations throughout the community. And so that's what we're doing here in Texas. But this is an international program. So there are Chief Science Officers in Kuwait and Kenya, Mexico, and across the states. And we just started here in Texas last year. IDRA, we really lead with equity as the forefront of our mind in everything that we do. And we know that, increasing representation in STEM, especially females and females of color in STEM, is super important. So we are very intentional about providing access to STEM learning opportunities in and out of school time. We make sure to elevate student voice in STEM conversations. I mean, they are the future, right? And so it's very important that they should also be at those conversations. And so we do our best to elevate their voice and their perspectives in these kind of settings, and really just increasing mobility for all. And so that is our goal. And that's what we bring. We operate in Texas, as I said. We just started in San Antonio last year with 36 CSOs, and now we're up to 104 chief science officers. We're so happy to see it growing and to see so many students get so excited about the program and tell their friends, and more students are joining. We're in San Antonio, Texas, mainly, but we did start in Houston, Texas last year, and we're hoping to start in the Rio Grande Valley and El Paso next school year. A little bit more about the program. We have a ton of training opportunities for our students to enjoy. Our middle school and high school students are engaged throughout the school year. Their leadership capacities are strengthened through many teamwork activities, strategic planning, teamwork, networking, public relations, public speaking, different activities to really enhance writing in STEM, and STEM illustrations, as you might hear today, which are basically STEM presentations. Sometimes students will mentor younger children in STEM and teach STEM concepts through these STEM presentations. But then COVID struck all of us, right? COVID-19 struck us all, and it's a major crisis, and it really threw us all out for a loop to try to adapt, right? And so we look at our schools, our teachers, God bless them, right? Flipping classrooms overnight for online learning, our schools and districts trying to provide access to online learning, our city officials, everybody working together. And now we have our chief science officers, right, who are looking at their action plans and everything that they had set for the year for their program at their schools. And they're thinking, now what? Now what do we do? How do we pivot? How do we adapt? And so we have a few questions that we're going to now begin. And we're going to have our CSOs introduce themselves next. And we're going to go ahead and just ask them a few questions and get to know how they adapted to these COVID-19 challenges and how they are still enriching a STEM culture and promoting STEM in their schools and communities during this time. So first off, we're going to start with this question here. What are your COVID-19 experiences as it relates to school adjustments that you've had to make? We're going to start off with CSO Isela. If you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and then respond to the question, that'd be great.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is CSO Isela. I'm a senior at McCullum High School. It's great to see everyone here. So as far as my experiences, it's been really rapid, if I do say so myself. I don't think anyone knew that we were going to go into spring break and think that that was the last time we were going to be at school. And sadly, that was what happened. And so we had to immediately adjust. And it was a very hectic process, especially down here in the south side of the community. A lot of family members and a lot of people don't have that means of communication. So what we've been doing is we've been actually having laptops being passed out throughout the district. So that way students are able to still communicate with their teachers and still have that means. And as for other families that might not have internet, we do have these buses that do have internet connection that will run from about 9 to 4 on weekdays. So that way students are still able to do work, or for some reason that wasn't, because that was just adapted as of last week. So what we first did was that we decided to give out paper. So then whether it was textbooks or whatever students had already in hand, that was passed out to the parents who needed paper copies in order to adapt well with their students. As for technology-wise, we've been using the program called Edgenuity, and alongside there, students can check at daily progresses because it does have like a progress bar, so that way they make sure if they're behind or ahead, and so it really is at their own pace. And alongside that, teachers have been messaging us either through Zoom or Google Classroom, and so it really feels great that teachers are able to do that for their students, because it feels like not everyone's alone in this. And so really having that bond and having everyone communicate with each other has been such a great experience, and it has alleviated the pain in a sense. And so hopefully this is a great training for whatever happens in the future, and it really is an experience that everyone's going to have in mind. So
Sorry, having some technical difficulties. How about Shreya, CSO Shreya? If you can introduce yourself and then share your response to this question, that'd be great.
All right, so hello everyone. I'm CSO Shreya, sophomore at Keystone School. And so what sort of happened was for us, we got news of the school closure, for me personally, on our final day of robotics. So I was on the campus, and then the person who mentors us told us, oh, school's gonna get shut down. So we had this small moment where everyone on my robotics team who was there that day just sort of went around and said goodbye to all the empty classrooms. And there were no teachers there except for us because we were doing robotics practice during spring break. So we had that small little moment. And then after that, I'm really proud of my school because I feel like we adjusted pretty well. There were some technical difficulties in the beginning. What we did was we changed all of our classes to online. So we have the same schedule. We have to go to class at the same time. One of the difficulties our school did have at first was that it was hard. There was a lot of screen time, and so some students were having difficulties adjusting to that. I'm really proud of how our school was able to adjust, and they changed up the schedule a little bit to give us a little less screen time. And so, yeah, I'm really proud of how our school was able to adapt to that.
Awesome. And Elizabeth, CSO Elizabeth, if you'd like to introduce yourself and share your response.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon. I'm CSO Elizabeth. I'm in 8th grade, and my school I'm good at the NEISD STEM Academy, so it's in NEISD. So for our school, we have been using this program called Blackboard Collaborate. It was a transition because most of my classes were on Google Classroom, so it was a transition going from Google Classroom to Blackboard, but I think it went pretty smooth. There's some parts that are a little bit confusing about the new software, but I've been figuring it out. As just like Isela was saying, our school district has been doing some of the same things. They've been passing out computers to students who don't have access to technology, and they've also been giving out paper packets of all of the work. But I would say that's been a pretty smooth transition for my school.
Great, thank you for sharing. It's always enlightening to hear from students from all over San Antonio, really thinking about where you guys live and in different areas around San Antonio to see how different schools are handling it, what platforms we're using, what struggles or challenges we're facing, especially with the digital divide being a very real issue here in San Antonio and in many places around the world. It's definitely been a trying time, and it's nice to hear that you guys you're doing all right. You're coming through it. And I can't wait to hear as well about, you talk a little bit about your schooling adjustments, but I'm just curious, and I'm sure others are really curious, just personally, how are you coping with all of these challenges? Thinking about your family, your friends, and some other, school goals or transitions that are happening soon. Go ahead and share with us. We'll have Isela, or next is Shreya, actually. CSO Shreya, if you could start us off.
Okay, so something about me is that my passion is sort of innovating and programming. So during these times, I've spent a lot of time just sort of innovating different things, because now that, we do have COVID, there's a lot of different sort of side problems that also appear. So I've been, one of the things that is most used right now is I created a little virtual bell system, called it BellBot, for my robotics Discord server. And so we're able to sort of have the same bell system as we have in school. And then we can also log in our homework, have reminders of the different activities, because our school sometimes uses different programs or different platforms for sharing. It would send you little links to the platform, so you don't have to open up the browser, type in the address and all that stuff. So for me, I kind of enjoy online schooling. Not sure if that's something I'm necessarily proud of, because at school I don't spend a lot of time with my friends, because it's very much studying. The one thing I do miss the most is my teachers. I sort of just miss talking to them and sort of being able to have that like one-on-one sort of tutoring if you need help with something to go in and ask, hey, can you help me write a better DBQ and stuff like that. So that's sort of how I'm coping with COVID.
So at my house, my sister, she's in college. And so the day that we found out about school closures, we had to drive up and we had to bring her back down here from Huntsville. So that transition from only having 3 people in our house to 4 has been a little bit it's been a little weird. But our house is kind of separated into like different offices. Everyone has their own room to work because we're all in Zooms and classes and stuff. Um, so another thing I want to talk about was the transition from 8th grade to 9th grade. Because we're not in school, I won't be able to make some of the connections I had planned on with some of the students, like some of the other students at my school, as well as with my new teachers, since I'll be going to Lee High School next year. But uh, even though I don't have this extra time at school, I'll still have the CSO program to back me up, even though there won't be any CSOs older than me who will be at Lee, because the ones who were at Lee were seniors, so they've graduated. So now me and another CSO, we'll both be freshmen, and it's harder for freshmen to start some activities on campus because we don't really know the campus very well. We don't know as many teachers. We don't know a lot of people, but I'll have the CSO program to support me, and I'll be able to speak with other CSOs like CSO Shreya and CSO Isla, on since they're at other high schools who can help me with planning like demonstrations, and they can collaborate with me. So that's how I'm personally coping with COVID-19's challenges.
I think personally, it's been really rough for me. I'm such a person that my environment has to be productive in order for me to be productive. So it's been really hard adjusting to that personally. I've moved my desk into my vanity instead of being in my bed the whole day, and working. So that way I produce some time of productivity along with still trying to dress up, because for some reason, like, outfits help me a lot with that too. And not just that, but also I've been able to communicate with other people that I hadn't this past couple of years. A lot of my friends were seniors last year, and so whenever they graduated, they went to like UT Austin or A&M Corpus Christi, and so it's been really hard dealing with that, but suddenly joining together again really made me happy. And not only that, but I used to visit my family at least once a weekend, once a month in Mexico. And so it's been really hard knowing that I'm not able to do that anymore because of COVID-19. And so having those like live interactions through FaceTime and like Facebook Messenger has been really helping me a lot, because I still feel like I'm still with them, even though I might not be physically with them.
Well, thank you for sharing that, all 3 of you. I really appreciate it. I know this situation presents really unique challenges, and as far as families too, a lot of dynamics have changed and shifted, and everybody's coping differently. So I appreciate you opening up and sharing a little bit more about that for you and your family and your friends. I wanted to know, I'm curious, how has your role as a Chief Science Officer changed? We might have some new viewers on this webinar either now or in the future, since this is recorded, that are curious about, first of all, what is a Chief Science Officer? What do they do? But then how has these COVID-19 and school closures and community closures, how have all these dynamics really changed and shifted in your role as a CSO? So if we can have CSO Elizabeth start us off, that'd be wonderful.
So one thing as a role as a Chief Science Officer that you have to do is an action plan, which is sort of like a project that you have to do, and you have to do one basically each semester, and it's a way for you to really spread STEM in your community. So before school closures, my action plan was to work with another CSO at my school and to go work and present to elementary schoolers, as well as provide them with videos of us doing like STEM demonstrations, just to really get them passionate about STEM the way that we are. Well, obviously, we're not able to go to elementary schools, and we're not able to even be with each other in the same rooms, which has really put a damper on the communication as well as the other aspects of our project. So now my action plan is more focused on the SA Smart City Mayor's Cup Challenge, which has the theme of this year, digital inclusion. So this year, those of you who don't know, this is like a competition where the mayor will present us with a problem that San Antonio will face and may face in the future, or a problem that San Antonio is facing now. And so, for example, this year was digital inclusion, and your team has to come up with a way to really help San Antonio get through that challenge. So this year, the team I am on has become finalist, and they haven't chosen a winner yet, and we haven't presented yet, but we've been basically working all April and pretty much all of May. We will be working all of May to get our project up and ready. That way we can either give a in real life presentation, or if we're still in quarantine, in a through Zoom presentation. But I'm hoping that I can carry this project and challenge over with me to Lee, and that I can even we were talking about this the other day when I was working with my team, about even trying to get other people involved with our project. So either getting more teams involved with the Mayor City Smart Cup Challenge and trying out at Lee, because even though it was mandatory for us to do in 8th grade, in 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, it's not mandatory. But just getting people to be involved with it and excited about it, as well as taking someone's idea and even trying to and make it more in depth, and even try and get some of it actually happening in San Antonio.
So originally what I had planned for this semester for my action plan was a pathway career for 8th graders who were going to transition into high school. And so that way they knew what kind of courses they would take during those 4 years of high school, so they know what they want to do later on as a career per se. And so that had to change because obviously of COVID-19 and schools closing, and we weren't able to have that opportunity. So my action plan did get canceled, but I fell back into this article and I fell back into this webinar, and it opened my eyes so much more to what I could actually do. It broadened my horizons per se, and that really is what the CSO program has helped me a lot through as well, both before and after or during COVID-19. And so being able to talk to CSO Elizabeth and CSO Straya, it really opened my eyes to what other sides of the community are dealing with, and bonding with them has really been great for me. And it's really hooked up with my mood and stuff, and it's really brought some confidence in me. And that's sort of the beauty of everything, just being able to talk to everyone and just communicating through them. And that really does motivate me to keep on working. Alongside that, I do try to talk to my math club at school. It's a really small group. It's like less than 10, but it's been really important for me to communicate with them. I remember one day we even had like a Kahoot where like I shared it on the screen in the Zoom, and they all joined it, and we were just playing and we were just having fun. And so that was really fun for us. And hopefully that throughout the next couple of years, the McCollum CSO program can grow, even though I might not be there, but I'll still be here at UTSA. And so hopefully I can still go back there, and not even just there, but in the program here in Texas too, and help out multiple CSOs with their new challenges per se.
So this is going to be a little similar to what Isala said. The entire purpose of the Chief Science Officer program is to let middle and high school students have an impact in their community. So when we had before COVID, my small impact was to my school and adding a robotics club, a bit of an engineering aspect to my school's curriculum. I was really happy we were able to build a robot. We had it all ready, and then competition got canceled. 2 days before competition happened, they decided to cancel it because of COVID. So that was kind of disappointing for all of us. But what I was able to do was, because of COVID, now everyone's online. And so not only could we have like a local impact, we can also take our impact internationally. And so what the International CSO program has been doing is we've been having sort of lectures. We ask scientists and engineers to come in and give us lectures. And so that is something really cool. And we have people from all over, from Kuwait, from Mexico, and then from the US, just come in, listen to what the scientists have to say, and start learning new things. In addition, I'm starting right now, I'm part of an organization called the Helix Initiative, and our goal is to spread bioinformatic education to other high schoolers. And so something exciting is that I'm trying to bring a Texas chapter of that to Texas, and so that's my small impact to the world.
Awesome. It's so encouraging and so exciting to hear about all of the work that you're doing. I think of, oops, having trouble going back. Here we go. I think of Elizabeth, what you were sharing about you going on to high school. I mean, and then, thinking about Isela, you're transitioning to college. You guys are in these big, grade levels right now that, this is really come at obviously a unique time and for both of you, and despite the challenges, you're really able to adapt, and you're able to encourage others and encourage each other, and it's really amazing to see, really beautiful to see, and how despite all of the challenges, you're finding ways to make an impact within your inner circle of family and friends, and also in another major way, internationally, even with some other CSOs that you're working with and collaborating with. It's thinking about, especially Elizabeth, your action plan, thinking about how it's adapted to now being focused on digital inclusion. And that is such a huge need for a city. And that, I think the idea was promoted before COVID, right? And so now it's like, wow, the real world understanding and application of all of that. It's just really encouraging to see how you as students are coming up with solutions for these very real and apparent problems. And it's, Isela, thinking about how encouraging you are at uniting others and edifying other people. You're just a wonderful friend to all of our CSO family. And the work that you've been doing with your math club, and the work that you're doing with your MAS club as well, with your Mexican American Studies course, and at your high school. You've been public speaking and just doing some amazing things, and that hasn't stopped, And then lastly, Shreya, I mean, this Helix initiative, thinking about the research applications and how you're learning more about the virus, and you're learning how to translate research for others so that they can understand. You guys are doing all these incredible things, and just because it's virtual now, it hasn't stopped. I think in ways it's actually enhanced some of your work, so that's just really encouraging to hear. And we'll have some time for Q&A later if anybody has any specific questions, but I wanted to ask one last question instead of ending on that note. We might have teachers on the call, or family members or administrators, or some kind of connection to education or STEM or CSO family from internationally. Considering either audience, what is one piece of advice you would like to share? And we'll start with CSO Isela.
So a piece of advice that I would like to share is something that correlates with both like MOS and STEM combined. I've been sort of adapting through that throughout this year, and as of late kind of impacted me in a way where I took it in, and I just kind of realized that through with everything that's happening with COVID, we have to look at people not based at the color of their skin or not based at the ethnicity they are, and just kind of uniting together as a country and as a state and as a community, and just learning to bond with each other and helping each other throughout this difficult time. If we don't do that, we might not get past this pandemic. Typecasting and judging is such a setback through everything that's happening, because COVID, or the virus itself, doesn't judge based on skin color. It is like a respiratory disease, and so anyone can get it. And so it's learning how to not typecast people for that. And through that, we can get through it. And also looking back at it from the CSO standpoint and its overall message as a whole, we don't just hope it happens, we make it happen. And so if we all join together based on just being part of the community and just uniting together, we will get past COVID-19.
So I'm going to echo CSO Isela mentioning the CSO motto: "Don't just hope it happens, make it happen." So through COVID and through these, rough times, you always need to be like the person who can help others out, and you need to try to help people around you. So I guess don't get disheartened and just keep on running forward.
I would like to give some encouragement to all teachers and administrators, just to tell them thank you for everything that they're doing, especially teachers who have lots of students. My mom is a teacher, and I know how much work teachers are putting in, all the efforts getting contact with each of their students through video calls, text, and phone calls. And even though some students aren't going to tell their teachers I just want teachers to know that they are very much appreciated for all the vigorous and tireless work they are putting in during the COVID-19 pandemic. So to all teachers and administrators, thank you.
Thank you so much. It's so encouraging what each of you had to share. Thank you so much. And I agree. I think that despite these challenges, it's been really remarkable to see how our communities have united and how we are giving back and serving and even more. And especially with our first responders, and happy a Teacher Appreciation Day today too, right? And so that was a wonderful message and encouragement for our teachers and administrators. You know, our teachers have been doing so much, and, you know, flipping classrooms to a virtual environment overnight practically. And so it's been incredible to see everybody rise through this and help each other through this. I wanted to also, I wanted to open it up now. I know that we have quite a few participants. I wanted to open it up and see if anybody had any questions for our Chief Science Officers. And if you could just introduce your name and then maybe direct a question to a certain student or to myself as a moderator, and we'd love to hear and open it any questions from the audience. Oh, you might be muted if you are trying to share out. Might be helpful to know to unmute yourself too. Or you can type your questions or comments in the chat box.
Good afternoon. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Anthony Gutierrez, and I'm from Dallas ISD. I tell you what, I'd like to share. I didn't know exactly what I was getting into, and I didn't really understand the dynamics, but I want to share this. I'm truly impressed with the panel, the maturity, the wisdom, if I can even use the word wisdom. Mm-hmm. I want to applaud you with this, I'm going to say the word gift, with this drive that you possess, this vision, where you are, that I wish I'd had that when I was your age, or that age, let me rephrase that, to have that spirit, that love, that direction, because you're going to make, I'm going to remember your name, because years you're going to make some statements that are going to become renowned. They're going to become a label, and they're going to be able to connect it with you. So let me stop, because I get carried away. But the biggest giveaway, thank you for sharing. Thank you for your maturity. Thank you for your guidance, where your energies are going. I've truly enjoyed it, and keep doing it. Keep that fire going. Keep it going, and I appreciate it. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much, Anthony. We really appreciate you from Dallas ISD. Thank you so much for joining us today, and from listening to our students. I'm inspired by them every day. They're doing incredible things, and I learn so much from them as well. And so, yeah, and we'd love to come to Dallas as well and have some Chief Science Officers in Dallas. So reach out to me.
Well, very quickly, I didn't tell. What was interesting also is that I'm with the Racial Equity Office in Dallas. Okay, so we're new to that part of it about the Racial Equity Office, but most definitely, again, STEM is that's nationwide. That's a buzzword now. It's like saying math or language arts now. So, but also that the panel is and you've inspired me. I'm not a big STEM person, you know. That you give me headaches when you start talking too much of that STEM. I'm like, okay, hold on. But I get it. You understand it, and I will follow you. You can lead me. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
again, anytime you're in Dallas, come to Dallas ISD, and you'll be welcome with big arms. So let me stop because I do get carried away. But I love what you're doing. Keep doing it. And awesome panel. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. Yeah, we would love to come to Dallas ISD as well. And we, our students can lead. Our students have these amazing capacities to lead us and drive us to where we need to be going. And I feel like many times our students aren't really heard and or don't feel heard, right? And so my job is the best because I get to meet students like this and put them on a platform for everybody to hear. And I'm so blessed to have this job. And we have so many more students as well that you'll hopefully get to meet in the future. Maybe we'll do more of these so that you can meet some of our Texas Chief Science Officers, our alumni students as well who are now in college that we still keep in touch with. That'll be you, Isela, as you go off to college. You won't let go of us, dear. We'll still be here and you'll still be on talks like this in the future. Thank you, Anthony. Any other questions from the audience? Questions or comments?
Miss Goodman was asking if she could hear more about the digital inclusion project.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to share something very briefly, and then I'd love for you to take it away, Elizabeth. I know that in our spring cabinet meeting for CSOs, I invited Dr. Cliff Sentgraf from SAMSAT, the San Antonio Museum of Art and Technology, and Museum of Art and Science and Technology. And so we have this incredible group of STEM professionals in San Antonio. They're a part of our Alamo STEM ecosystem, and they have been wonderful supporters for our students. I invited Dr. Cliff to come and share a little bit more about this Mayor's Challenge because it was new to me, but it's been going on for quite a while, and students, middle schoolers and high schoolers from all over San Antonio are working on real citywide problems. They're coming up with solutions that are practical and innovative, and they're calling for the attention for our mayor to share these solutions. And with united effort, many convene together to make these solutions possible in our city. So that's a little bit of an overview to piggyback a little bit off of Elizabeth when she introduced it. But if you want to share a little bit more about how it works and about the project, that'd be great.
So the project so an overview of the entire big question about digital inclusion. It essentially started with the first fact, which is that 38% of the population of San Antonio has decent to no good internet. From there, they told us to come up with ideas of ways that we could, in our team, so our team is from 3 to 4 or 5 people, ways that we could solve this problem. So within the team I'm on, we came up with the idea to raise sales tax by 0.0025 because everyone buys something. That way everyone's giving into sales tax. And from there, we would provide an overall internet connection for all of San Antonio. So that's just our idea. There are lots and lots of different ideas. And you start with over 50 teams. I know that every 8th grader in my class that came up with a project and presented it. And then from there, you keep skimming down until you get to your finalists, which is about 6 or 7 teams. This year, there's 5 middle school teams that are finalists and 1 high school team that are finalists. So this year, we're in the same pool. But usually, if there's a lot of high schools that make it and a lot of middle schools, then they'll create 2 separate pools of middle school and high school. But since there isn't, we're all together this year. And so from there, they have to come up with a 7-slide presentation. And then usually there would be a day in May, and you would go and you would present to the judges your presentation. You give a 7-minute presentation, and then at the end they have like 2 minutes for questions that they ask you. And then after everyone's presented, they get back and they tell you who won, and they get a really big cup that says Mayor City's Challenge Cup, and they get to hold it, and we all take pictures, and their pictures are put on the website for the SA Smart Challenge. So it's basically a pretty general overview, but Mrs. Goodman, I think, was who asked the question. If you have any more questions, feel free to chat on the little chat with me, and I can answer any more of them.
How many finalists did you say there were?
I think 7th this year. Well, 7 teams. So each
17.
3 to 4 people.
Okay. And so that's a wonderful idea that you all had. I also heard of one, I'm not sure which school, actually I think it was from South San ISD. There was a group of some of our CSOs as well at Dwight STEM Academy who had a great idea to, another wonderful innovative idea to have, I think, some kind of hotspot on our lamp posts in neighborhoods. So being that most neighborhoods, hopefully, right, have these big street lights, that they were thinking about attaching like solar panels to those and having some type of like hotspot that the neighborhood could use. So that way, communities have access nearby. So there's many ideas out there. I can't wait to follow up. When did you say it would end, where the winner would be announced?
I believe on May 20th, I believe. It's
the end of May.
It's
Okay.
the end of May. I can't give an exact date. I'll have to look into that more, but.
Well, we will all follow up because we want, we're so excited to hear how your team does. And, win or lose, there are some great solutions coming out of these projects every year. And I think that many of our, workforce and higher education and community partners, I think we can work together to make a lot of these ideas really come to pass and make them a reality for our neighborhoods and for our communities here across San Antonio. So thank you for sharing. But yes, any other questions about that project? I had 2 more that I see. I don't know if you see them too. I think one of them was a private one. But from a parent, the question is, as a student, what can parents learn from your experience? And, what can parents do to further give you support as CSOs?
I think personally, from a parent standpoint, just be very understanding of your student schedule. So usually either the morning of or the day before, or even at the start of the week, I'll tell my mom, like, hey, this is my schedule. Can you please cooperate with me at these times? And so that way it feels like both of them are included. And not only that, but just have time with your family. At least once a week, I believe my family and I will just get together and we'll watch a movie. We'll make some popcorn and stuff. So that way we're together and we de-stress from everything that's happening. Because I know as a parent, it must be really hard dealing with, like, what am I going to do to put food on the table? I have bills to pay and everything like that. And with unemployment being so high, it is a risk that everyone's facing right now. And just being able to de-stress and be with your family at the moment, it's such a precious moment. So I think those are some little tips I can give. I've never been a parent per se, so I can't really be like 100% sure, but that is what I would suggest.
That's wonderful. Elizabeth or Shreya, do you have anything to add about, how parents can support their children during this time, or even as CSOs, what kind of support's been really helpful for you?
Just being there for your student, because they need you. I know my mom and my dad and my sister are always there for me. If I need help with anything, they're always willing to help. Listen to me give my presentations over and over again. Listen to me ask them, is this good? Does this sound good? Should I do this? Should I dress like this? What should I wear? Things like that. So just mostly be there for them, get involved in what they love. If they're really passionate, and if they are a CSO and they're super passionate in the CSO program, and so they're talking to you about how they want to start doing these online classes about like building robots so they can teach other students, then help them with it. Say, oh, okay, well, maybe if you're like an engineer or something, tell them, oh, well, I know some great people I can help you with, and like help them with networking and things like that.
Great advice. You want to add anything, Shreya?
I don't know. I mean, for me, I'm lucky to have 2 great parents, and I feel like we're able to sort of jive really well for each other. I think something, I'm not sure if this applies to other families, but I know some of my friends have had like more conflicts with their parents because now they're stuck with their parents for 24 hours each day. And so I think space might be important depending on how your family sort of works with each other. And then something else, my parents are really good at making sure I take care of myself, because that's something I overlook at times. My mother is in charge of making sure I walk every day to just sort of get out of the house a little bit and get some fresh air. They make sure I have 3 meals each day and I get enough sleep. So that's really great as well.
That's really important because now, many schools are kind of trying to mimic the whole school day virtually. And so what that translates to is children are now in front of screens for maybe 6 to 8 hours a day at least. And that's not always good, right? That's not really a good approach that is recommended. And so that's really good that you're able to have some accountability from your parents to, step away from all of this and to have time with your family to de-stress from everything. I know your parents have been so supportive in the CSO program. I know Shreya, your dad, is always very excited to learn more about the program and what you're doing. And he's at every event. And so it's just really encouraging. And so I hope that answers your question. We had one more question as we kind of begin to close our webinar. This is from a fifth grader, Aiden Rivera. He said, I'm a fifth grader at McDermott Elementary School in Northside ISD and picked up all my belongings from school today. Oh, Aiden, that's got to be a weird feeling, right? My mom and I were a little sad because it was the last time I would be there at my elementary school. That's tough. My question is, any advice about preparing for sixth grade classes in middle school? Any study habits that you would recommend for Aiden, guys?
I would mostly say making sure that you have good time management. I would say that will come back. And if you have really good time management, then when you'll be able to spend your weekends doing things fun, you'll have all A's or A, B honor roll, things like that. Your teachers will notice things like that. You might think like, oh, just doing extra credit isn't that big of a deal. I have like 100 in my class. Why would I need to? Your teacher notices that you go above and beyond, and later on, they'll definitely, if there's things at your school, like in middle school, you have like National Junior Honor Society, things like that, your teachers will notice. And so when you're trying to get people to write you recommendation letters, or if you try to like do things like the CSO program and you want to be like a regional lead and you need recommendation letters, that makes a big difference for teachers. They'll be more willing to give you that recommendation letter because they know that you really earned it and that it's not just something that you're going to blow off. So that's what I would say, mostly time management, going above and beyond.
I would just say trying to diverse yourself throughout these years. I didn't start middle school till 7th grade actually, so that was really weird for me. So I wouldn't really know 6th grade advice per se. Or like my brother always asks me, because he's a 6th grader right now, he's like, how's this teacher? And I'm like, I never had him, because they always taught 6th grade and I was never part of that. So sometimes I feel weirded out. But the way I transitioned was just making sure I had a decent friend group and just communicating with them. And so if I needed help with something, I would go to them, or I would go to tutoring after school. And so those are mainly what I would advise you to do as well. And just try out different clubs, see what you like, and then slowly by then you can narrow yourself into a path that you can be like, oh, this is me, this is Ada Rivera, like this is my interest, and this is my hobbies, and this is what I really like to do. So yeah.
I would definitely agree with this, Isella. Middle school for me was more of sort of experimenting on sort of what do I like. I know I joined way too many clubs in middle school to like sort of see, oh, do I like math? Do I like theater? And eventually I sort of kind of found my way. And then from there, once you get to high school, this is like really long term. Once you reach high school, you can sort of deepen whatever interest you have. And then that'll sort of like get you far, like to get into a good college or something. Also for studying, I know in the beginning of middle school, I was really dependent on my parents. I would like, okay, I have this, can you help me study for it? Can you make questions for me? But eventually something that I use probably way too much is Quizlet. And so you can sort of create your own questions, you can share them with all your friends, and then you can sort of revise through that. Yeah, I think that's my main tips.
Those are wonderful tips from all three of you. Thank you so much. I think, yeah, I mean, as a former sixth grade science teacher who had, I was a head coach for golf, and I was the sponsor from the science club at my campus that I started. You know, I was very busy like my students, and I can definitely agree and echo, like, explore, Aiden, explore what your interests are. Try out a little bit of everything, you know, from the arts with, you know, band or whatever sixth graders can do, right? I don't know if athletics is really open for all sixth graders. It wasn't in my district, but try out the clubs, try out everything that you think you'd be interested in, and learn new things. And having a good support system of friends, great friends, is really important. And time management, because your periods, your classroom schedules, organizing periods and different things that might be totally new to you, right? So having some time management and a good agenda planner to keep your assignments organized and all your deadlines, that's really important too. So great question, Aiden. Good luck to you too. All right, I think that is almost an end here. I've got a couple more slides. Thank you so much for the great feedback and the comments. You know, continue your great work. You know, happy Teacher Appreciation. Thank you for all of our educators and administrators, district personnel, everybody, our community partners. Thank you for all that you're doing. Continue to lead with care and respect and trust and pride in your communities. We have a ton of IDRA resources that are available for you. We have some links here. The first one is, if you need any assistance with you know, teacher training or support, educational resources, please fill out that form. We're here for you to support you. We have a whole YouTube page of all of our recorded webinars. We've been doing weekly equity webinars since we started. And so we have a huge archive from recent and then previous trainings and videos that we have online. So please visit our YouTube channel. This is recorded, so this will be able to be shared later. So feel free to check in on our YouTube channel and share this video with anybody that you think would enjoy it. Also, we have a Learning Goes On website, and we have a ton of resources there. You can sign up for our weekly updates. Many of our policy updates, education updates are all translated in Spanish as well. So please be on the lookout for that and share those resources among your network. We have an email, contact@idra.org, if you need to reach out to us. Our website, again, please follow us. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And subscribe to our newsletter so that you get all of our updates for future webinars. We really appreciate you attending today, and I'm so thankful for our guest speakers today. Thank you, CSOs, for all of your hard work, for being an inspiration to myself and so many others, and all the other CSOs. We are just so, so proud of you. So thank you again. And everybody, that's all for now. If you'd like to hang out and ask a question, I'll stay on, but everybody is able to leave if you need to go. Thank you again, CSOs, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you.
Have a nice day, everyone.
You too, Risela. Thank you so much.
Dr. Garcia.
Yes. Hello, Anthony.
Very quickly now, I think I just logged on and I was able to get this invite or however I got into this, but you were speaking about those links that you shared. Now that I'm in the, I guess in the mail, will I get like weekly updates of when y'all have live panels?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so y'all do this on a weekly basis, or how does this?
Typically every Tuesday. Every Tuesday we do. I'm leading another one next week.
So you'll send an invite to me, for example. I mean,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So whatever email you have subscribed for that newsletter,
Yes, ma'am.
You'll get the newsletter updates. You'll get our different weekly updates and policy updates. All of those things will be shared every week. I believe every Thursday or Friday we send out updates for the following week.
Is it always student-led? Is it always student-led?
It's mixed. Sometimes it's parents who are leading.
Okay.
Sometimes,
Really? Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes we have different people from the Department of Education leading different topics. Recently, we've had representatives from the Digital Inclusion Alliance and all kinds of stakeholders in education. Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you what, I look forward to next Tuesday. So keep sending them my way, and hopefully I can make them. They don't conflict. So hey, enjoy it, and it was really powerful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You take care.
Yeah, likewise. Bye bye. Have a good one.
Bye bye. You too. Okay, Michelle, well, if there's no more questions, we can go ahead and close the meeting. Thank you so much for helping me with all the technology.